Now Belle's here. Can you hear her? Hey Belle, what's up, honey? So anyway, finishing up this article. Hey, honey. So anyway, he has just said Fenn was throwing a piece of meat in the alligator pit to watch everyone jump for it. He wanted lives changed and courses altered by the movement of his hand. That's the trickster in him. I don't think much of that treasure out there. This is 2017. Hey, honey. Yeah. Although I hear that tens of thousands of people are thinking a lot about it, some dying to find it. I still think Fenn should have let me hide it. It would have been... I still think Fenn should have let me hide it. It would be found so far in the future, Fenn's name would be gone. It would be a mystery. Dug from the ground. Hey, Belle, what's up, honey? You're the baby Belle, my stinky baby Belle. What? You know, Tober was up here earlier, almost knocked the camera over. You never do that. You're a good girl. The lid opened for the first time in centuries, in thousands of years. Could be exactly what Fenn was after. Somewhere in space and time, he would know. Remember Fenn was talking about burying himself with the treasure? That was always kind of like like two sides of the same sword, right? Be buried with the treasure. He wants treasure found. If the treasure wasn't found, he goes out and he's buried with the treasure. The next article we're going to read, you're going to hear a lot more about this concept. And, you know, I hate to harp on this 10% of me wondering about it being retrieved, but what if Forrest Fenn decided at this point in life, with all this going on with the treasure hunt and how big and crazy it's gotten, and Peggy being sick and him being almost 90 now, you know, your perceptions, your thoughts, your dreams, everything changes, certainly as we age. What if Fenn still wanted to do that? What if Fenn looked around and said, you know, it's been 10 years. In August, it would be 10 years. Of course, Fenn said at one time it could have been 2009. I don't want to get it too precise because I don't want people looking up rental car records trying to figure out where I could have gone, although I'm not sure how anybody would have figured out what rental car to look for, but you get the point. But what if Fenn said, yeah, I really want to stop this madness? Could he do it easily? Could Forrest Fenn stop the hunt if he wanted to? I'm serious. What if Forrest Fenn really said to himself, I want this madness over with. I want it over with. I've got lawsuits going. I've got people invading my privacy. I've got a very sick wife. I've got my family's been invaded, literally had their house invaded. Threats. Just craziness. People, you know, Fenn said on more than one occasion that the treasure hunt has gotten much bigger than he ever thought it could have gotten. I don't know. But I think it would have been very difficult for him to just say the hunt's over. I think he would have probably been faced with a class action lawsuit. Whether it would be a good lawsuit and have any merit, we don't know. The two cases of Anderson and Erskine that are out there now, I think they've both been told to go back and redo their case so it passes muster for the court to even look at it. And I just don't think they're going to get away with it. I just don't think they're going to, it's going to happen for them, either of them. I don't think their cases are good enough to pass muster. But anyway, so that's the article that Craig Childs wrote in 2017. Now, here are some of the responses, and I'm only going to read the ones that I think are worth it. The very first one, Judy says, something bothers me very much about this man, Craig. The nursery rhyme Old King Cole came to mind. I am sure he did not want anyone to die looking for this treasure of gold, but this is the consequence by stepping away from you and knowing that thousands are looking for this gold. He is looking at the human tendencies vicariously. Creepy. So she's saying, yeah, this concept of him kind of starting this thing to watch people scramble creeps her out a little bit. If you're wondering if anything changed with the cats now, the way they're able to get in my face is because I've upgraded my video studio, here at Iwi Productions. And I got a table and a chair. So now they're able to get up on the table with me, and they're able to get much more in the camera than they were before. Before we upgraded and renovated the Iwi Productions studio. Jesuit says, oh, listen to this guy. Can't breathe thinking of this guy and his desperate bid for immortality. And this friend, quote, speaking of things he really wanted to play with, he showed me Sitting Bull's pipe, which appeared in photographs of the Hunkpapa Lakota holy man in the 1880s, unquote. Fenn said, quote, this is arguably one of the most important American Indian artifacts in existence. There's no way it isn't the original pipe. It's exact. I even measured the concavities in the bowl itself. The ratios are perfect, unquote. Jesuit says, if this is true, Fenn is pissing on Sitting Bull's history and people. Now, some people agree with that. I'm not sure I really do, but some people agree with that, yeah. That this whole thing of attaining all this Indian stuff flies in the face of real love for the Indians and their culture. I'm not sure that's true about the pipe, but we'll get into some areas where it could be very true, and it shows another side of Fenn. It shows this side that you kind of go, I thought Fenn loved the Indians. I thought he loved the Indian culture. I thought that's what this whole thing was about. He had all these pictures of him with all of his moccasins and, his headdress, and chief's headdress, and knives, and arrowheads. This intense love of the American Indian and their culture. I thought that's what it was all about. I'm not sure this table idea is working out. We'll see. Carlos says, very interesting and intriguing, but at the same time, to think twice about. Do people ever read some of their stuff before they post it? Because you see these kind of non sequitur things that you read them and you don't even really know what they just said. Craig Childs at this point, oh no. Don't fight. Craig Childs at this point says, he seems to feel that people are coming down bad on Fenn. So on July 3rd, right after this was published, he says, Fenn was an interesting, captivating man. He seemed in love with everything. Maybe I didn't get that across. He had a smart and infectious enthusiasm. Like a lot of us, if we were weirdly extro-introverted, fascinated with artifacts, and had millions of dollars. I agree, Jesuit. He was pissing on Sitting Bull's pipe like a dog pissing on a fence post, I think. He was also cherishing it, preserving it under conditions that might mean its physical remains will still be around in 1,000 years to sit in the hands of a Lakota descendant. Well, that's a stretch. How's it go from being preserved by Forrest Fenn in a vault to ending up in the hands of a Lakota descendant? I don't know. Then again, that sounds like 19th century anthropologists pulling cultural materials that were in use out of active villages around the Americas. The pitfalls are endless. Some things I like about what Fenn stands for, some things I do not. That's why I chose to call him a trickster. He's not a thing to be ignored. Some guy says, you'd have better luck finding this treasure looking for the Powerball lottery. Snap. As for being out and being adventurous, just start hiking in your local parks. That's a good point. The guy goes on to say that he doesn't like the fact that Fenn has a funerary mask. Another guy makes a strange point. He says, I've been saying it now. He's supposed to have cancer, yet he can lug the chest out into a forest and leave it, except for the clues in the poem. Doesn't this show you not far but too far? He kind of makes this point that that the phrase "not far but too far to walk" is actually talking about Fenn's ability to walk to the place where he put the treasure. But we know that Fenn did walk to the place where he left the treasure, so the concept of too far to walk wouldn't fit that. Anyway, some other guy says, he basically says, like a lot of us, if we were weirdly extra and introverted, fascinated with artifacts. Another guy says, that struck a chord. A lot of us, if we were weirdly extra introverted, fascinated with artifacts. He said, but I left off the millions of dollars because I don't have millions of dollars. But I'm okay with that. Okay, so anyway, Craig Child, 2017 article. There's a death mask on there. That is not a J death mask. It's just whatever, for whatever reason he had on his article. So now we're going to go on to the second author. Oh my God. I better have a sip of water before I do this. Oh, by the way, in one of my fairly recent videos, and I know sometimes there's a little time that goes between these, I said, it was when I was reading the Anderson text with Barb Anderson and this jerk who was harassing her, and she was harassed. I mean, I believe those texts are real, and she did have some guy that was just being a jerk. I don't know why. I don't even know where that's gone, that whole situation with her. But when I was reading them, I even said at one point, I said, well, I was drinking iced coffee, and I said something like, well, I hope I can get through this soberly. And I was totally kidding. I'm drinking, and some lady wrote me, and she goes, Eric, she didn't say what you're drinking, but she was saying, well, I would hope you could do these soberly or something. I don't drink, folks. It was a joke. I don't drink at all. I used to drink too much. And that all got corrected. I was forced upon the rack and threatened to have my thumb screws applied and to be drawn and quartered if I didn't quit drinking. So I thought, well, I better. And I did. And it's been the best thing I ever did. What's the thing they say about boats? The best day of your life is when you buy a boat. The second best day of your life is when you sell your boat. I had a boat for a long time. I had a 21-footer. I had it for years, a motorboat here on the lake I live on. I got rid of it because I just didn't take care of it. So I finally got rid of it. But I'm not a boat person. If you're going to have a boat, take care of your boat, right? But the point is that for a lot of people find that I'm really off course. To have a boat means you're going to be maintaining the boat. Boats are almost oxymoronic. The concept of being in water and being maintained in water. Boats fall apart very quickly, and you just maintain them a lot. And that's what a lot of people love to do. What are you going to do on Saturday, man? I'm going to go down and work on the boat. Yeah, me too. I mean, I was down there. I got to tell you a funny story. I was down our marina one time. I was down there working, something to do with the battery. Damn batteries, on boats. So I'm sitting there by myself, and all of a sudden I'm aware of someone couple of docks away. They're sitting in their boat by themselves. And then there was some lady sitting in a boat somewhere else on the marina by herself. And just to be nice or something, I guess I was curious because everyone is so quiet. I said, I'm down here fixing my boat. What are you guys doing? Fixing our boats? All three of us are down there working on our boats on a Saturday. It's kind of funny. Anyway, so the same thing is true about drinking, though. One of the best days of my life was when I first started drinking, and probably the next best or better day of my life was when I quit drinking. It's very similar to boats. I'm not even sure what the point is of all Okay, this is the infamous, I'm going to say it, I hope people don't run and just, oh my God, I can't believe Eric's going to quote this guy, oh my God. It's the famous Tony Dokoupil. Yes, the famous, infamous, horrendous, horrible, terrible Tony Dokoupil, who said when the Forrest Fenn released the photos after the find was announced to show it had actually been recovered, Tony Dokoupil said, I don't believe those are new photos. I believe those are old photos. I met Forrest Fenn in 2012, and I think those are the old photos, and they're not the new photos. And people were like, oh my God, Tony Dokoupil's an ass, and they just really hated him. And so I'm going to read his stuff, because I find it very interesting. So when the treasure was found, or retrieved, found, sure it was found. I mean, wouldn't it be just absolutely, I know I keep going back to this, but just imagine if Fenn really did have it retrieved in this whole thing. Could he get away with it? It's not against the law, is it? What if he just, for the rest of our lives, all we know, all of us people that went out on this thing, what if all we know for the rest of our lives is the treasure was found by some guy from out east and it was found in Wyoming? And we spend the rest of our lives just saying, if no more information came out because the finder doesn't want the location known and does not want to give up his identity? I've always said the IRS is going to figure out what's going on, right? I don't know about that. I don't know. Wouldn't that be wild, though? If we all go spend the rest of our lives just wondering and realize as we're laying on our deathbeds or as we see the Mack truck swerve into our lane across the median that we're about to die, and we think, I'm never going to find out what really happened with the treasure. It's over. You never found out what happened to the treasure. Oh, that's right, Forrest Fenn has been 10 years dead now. He never said, and the guy never said either, so we're never going to know what happened with the treasure. And Fenn had it all the time. And he left it there for the grandkids. You know, the Thrill to Chase, the proceeds for Thrill to Chase went to the Grandkids Trust Fund. I think 10% of it went to cancer research. So it would be the ultimate trick of the trickster. It would be the ultimate trick of the trickster that he retrieves it, convinces everyone that it was found, and yet nobody can actually prove to their heart's content that it was found. I just think that's such a wild concept that is, you know, we'll read this article too, and we're looking at another side of Fenn. I don't know. Part 3 coming up.